This training will go over AutoCAD Civil 3D 2022 NRCS Customization. Topics covered: requesting Civil 3D 2022 software installation, verify installation was installed properly, verify that the NRCS customization file was installed, and if not, how to download it and install it from the Software Center, activating a network license, installing NRCS customization CUI, activating Project Explorer and grading optimization, and setting up some personal preferences. So the first step we need to do is submit a request through the digital workspace, and we'll go over that now. So down at the bottom, you'll find the help desk icon. It might be located differently on your machine, but go ahead and double click that, and then what you want to do, hover over online help, submit DWP request, and this should go through the process of signing you in under the single sign-on eAuth. Once signed in, you want to look here for the Start Here, Browse for Categories. Top service request is what you want to select, and then find the Install Uninstall Software. Select that. Then you just want to go through this process. Is this action for yourself? Go ahead and click yes. And if you haven't done a ticket, it might not show up. Your name might not show up automatically, or you might have to go through the process of finding your name. So I had to do this originally. I had to search for my name, but once you find your name, it should automatically populate everything in here. Is this for an install or uninstall? It's for an install. Do you need agency specific software? No. We can go ahead and select. If you just type in AutoCAD will come up. Computer name, again, go back to your OCIO help desk icon, double click that, and you'll see your computer name come up. You can copy it and Control V to paste it. Is this a virtual machine / desktop? No. The version, this is the latest version, so I'm assuming it's just 1.0, but you can leave that blank. Select the request date of today, and then in the comment box you can put in installation of latest version of Civil 3D 2022. Once you have all that information completed, go ahead and submit request. And if there's an error that pops up, you might not have selected something that was required. But once you submit the request, it'll go into the IT department. Someone would be assigned to have that installed on your computer. And the way it works is they'll send you, actually, it's just a zip file that they'll have you download on your CTemp folder. And then once you download that into your CTemp, you'll let them know that it's been downloaded, and then they'll initiate the installation process. So this is all done remotely. And then once that's installed, mine took about a little over an hour to install. Once that's completed, the process is done by IT, and then you'll of course have to go through what we're going to go through now, is the customization process. So once IT installs both Civil 3D and the NRCS Civil 3D customization, you have to verify that, one, the customization files have been installed prior to continuing on with the setup. If the customization files are not present, you can check in the Software Center and manually install it. The customization file usually pops up 3 days after installation, but if you want to do the customization prior to that, then you can go in the Software Center and download that customization file and install it yourself. But first off, you want to double check to make sure the correct files are there. So these are the files that you want to check for. If you go in your Windows search bar under Control Panel, just type in Control Panel, click Programs, and then Programs and Features, and then just confirm that all the add-on and extensions have been installed. So this is kind of what it would look like. Trimble Link Engine, Trimble Link for Autodesk, and the Civil Table Tools and LiDAR tools are installed. Alright, so let's take a look on my computer and see if that was installed correctly. You can just type in Control Panel in your search bar, go under Programs and Features, and you'll notice in here, these are all the files that were installed with 2022. I also have 2020 on here also. You just want to verify that all these were installed correctly. And there is a snapshot that shows this. So it shows you a list that should have been installed on there. So we're just looking through that, and everything looks good. The Civil 3D Table Export, the Civil 3D Table Tools, the LiDAR tools, Link Engine, Trimble Link for Autodesk 2022. So it looks like all the correct software was installed. So you probably should do this first before you download the NRCS Customization file, just so you're aware that everything was installed correctly. And if you see something that doesn't look right on there, contact your IT administrator that assisted you on the install and just let them know that you don't see all the correct software installed on your computer. And then again, you want to double check to make sure that the customization file was installed and that it contains these following folders. And it's under C, Program Data, CAD Standard 2022. And then if you browse to the Program Data Autodesk Civil 3D 2022, confirm that the Support NRCS folder exists and that it contains the following folders and files. So all these folders and files. And if you don't see those files, you need to go into your folder file view, click on details and make sure that the file name extensions is checked and also the hidden items is checked. So we'll go ahead and we can just search again in your C drive, and then you want to select Program Data. You can see I only have CAD Standard 2020 in here currently. I just had Civil 3D installed yesterday, so it hasn't pushed through yet. And the other file that you want to look for is the Autodesk under Civil 3D 2022 and see if that Support NRCS folder is in here, and it's not located in here. To manually install the NRCS customization file, if you're impatient and don't want to wait the 3 days, but if you wait the 3 days, it'll be there. But if you don't see the Program Data folder after you install, you can install it from the Software Center. You can type in the search bar Software Center and select it. Under Applications, you can search for NRCS Autodesk Civil 3D 2022 Customization 1.0. So you can just type in the search bar NRCS, find that, go ahead and install it. It might take a while to install it. You shouldn't have to reset your computer after the install is complete, but it's probably recommended to just go ahead and restart it just in case. Once it's completed, you can check in the following file location to verify that it was installed under the C Program Data, Autodesk Civil 3D 2022, and looking for the Support NRCS tab or folder. So in this case, it was installed. There's a Support NRCS folder, and these are the files that are associated with that. The one big thing that you want to make sure that was installed was the Civil 3D Imperial 2022 NRCS.arg file. So we'll walk through the steps of doing that. So I'll have to go into Software Center and manually download this. So to do so, just type in the Software Center in your search bar. This will open up. Now you can search in here, NRCS. It might come up, it might not. And the first thing that pops up, NRCS Autodesk Civil 3D 2022 Customization 1.0. Go ahead and select that and click Install. But basically what this shows is this package enhances Auto Civil 3D 22 software by providing NRCS customized templates and files, NRCS CAD tools for design of dams, storage ponds, and circular tanks, and survey data transfer software on Trimble and Carlson equipment. So there's no restart required for this either. So go ahead and click Install. This might take a few minutes. So now the NRCS Autodesk Civil 3D 2022 Customization 1.0 has been installed. So you can go ahead and close your Software Center. After manually downloading the customization file, you just want to go in and verify that those folders are now present in your C drive. So again, under your C drive, under Program Data, we now have the CAD Standard 2022 with these 4 folders in it. And then under Program Data again, under Autodesk, and then Civil 3D 2022, you'll notice the Support NRCS file is located there, along with the folders, and also the NRG, and also the 2022 NRCS.ARG file. That's our customization file for the CUI that we'll need to have in order to continue with the NRCS customization. So we verified that everything was installed for the customization, and we can move forward with opening up Civil 3D and completing the process of customization. Now that all the files and folders have been installed on the computer, you can go ahead and launch Civil 3D 2022 Metric. Once you launch that, you might have a window that pops up, unassigned executable file. Go ahead and select Load Once, and then another screen should pop up saying that you have no active subscription or trial. Go ahead and click Already Have a License, which is down here at the bottom. Already have a license. On the Let's Get Started screen, go ahead and select under Use a Network License. So use a network license, go ahead and select that. And then from the top of the Civil 3D software window, go ahead and click the drop down next to the sign-in name. Select Manage License. If Borrow is showing, the network license is running. So you don't have to do anything else. In some cases, you might get this product license activation screen pop up. If so, go ahead and click Run. Just click Close and OK to get back to the project activation screen. Or you can go ahead and click Start Trial. Trial mode of Civil 3D 2020 will start. And again, on the sign in on the right hand side, hit the drop down Manage License. Go ahead and click Activate. And then one of these license get started windows will appear. You can use a network license. Go ahead and select that. Select multi-user. And then Civil 3D will then be connected to the USDA Network License Manager. Now if you select Use a Network License up here, the Specify License Server screen appears. This means the full installation of Civil 3D, add-ons, extensions, and the license service files were probably interrupted at some point during the process. So you'll have to probably contact IT for assistance if this appears and the installation is not complete. So hopefully nobody runs into that problem. And then this setup just goes over if you accidentally, selected the trial period but didn't activate the license. So if that's the case and, 30 days out, you get this window that pops up that the license expired, you'll have to follow these steps in getting that license renewed or activated. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Well, open up Civil 3D 2022, and again, make sure that it's in metric when you do this. And if you accidentally opened it up in the English, then you'll have to do some additional steps to go back and actually reset everything back to its defaults and then open up metric if you did that. But if you follow along in these instructions, you should be fine. You won't have to do that. Just make sure you open up the metric. So here's the first pop-up window that we run into. And again, as instructions say, just go ahead and click load once. And then we should get our software license notification pop up on the screen. So this is another one that may pop up. So this is basically saying AutoCAD is no longer the default application associated with DWG files. You can just go ahead and select what's recommended. Ensure that AutoCAD is always used to open DWG files. This message will not appear again. So just go ahead and select that. So then you'll get your license activation screen pop up. So you want to go ahead and select already have a license. Want to make sure you select use a network license. So go ahead and hit select. You can close this pop up for now. So next to your name, you might not be signed in automatically, but I was signed in automatically. Go ahead and select manage license. And then you'll notice license currently in use in this application. I have the borrow option come up. So currently, right now, I have the license and it's operating correctly as far as obtaining the license. Now, if you have something that comes up differently on here, then you'll have to go through different steps in order to make sure to get that corrected. But if this screen pops up, then you should be good. So you can just go ahead and close that window out. So now we can go ahead and continue with the customization process. Now that we have our license, we're all set up. We're in metric right now, so we've already done that. And this is where I was talking about earlier. If you accidentally, launch Imperial first, you'll have to reset Civil 3D for your login, and it's down here on the final page of what to do on that. So reset Civil 3D, just go ahead and click Start, and the Civil 3D English reset settings to default, and then confirm, click OK, and then Civil 3D launches as plain AutoCAD Civil 2022. Quit out and redo your customization. Or you can reset the user profile manually, but this is the easiest way of doing it. All right, so now that we are started up in Civil 3D, the first step you want to do is you want to type in options, and then under the Profiles tab, you want to highlight the Civil 3D Imperial and click Rename, and then rename it to Original Civil 3D Imperial. Click Apply and Close, click Import, and then browse to the Support NRCS folder, and then select the nrcs.arg file that we referred to earlier. Go ahead and click Open. Rename the profile name to Civil 3D Imperial, and checkmark Include Path Information. Be sure to include the 2 carets in the front and the 2 carets in the back in the name. Click Apply, and then go ahead and click Close, and then click OK to exit the Options dialog. And then go ahead and quit out of Autodesk Civil 3D 2022 by clicking Exit from the application menu. Click No when asked to save the changes to the drawings. So we'll go ahead and do this now. So I already have Civil 3D Metric open. So you can right click, go to Options, do it this way, or you can just type Options in your command line. Either way will get you to the same location. So what we want to do is go into the Profiles tab. And what you want to do in this top one, Civil 3D Imperial, in the front of this, you want to rename it. And just rename it with Original in front of the carets. And it's important that these carets stay here, front and the back in between Civil 3D Imperial. So this is basically what we're doing, is just renaming this as Original. We're not overwriting the original CUI. Go ahead and click Apply and Close. And now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and click Import. Alright, so we want to search in your C drive under your Program Data File folder location. And then you want to go under Autodesk, and then the Civil 3D 2022, under Support NRCS, and you'll see the Civil 3D Imperial 2022 NRCS ARG file. Make sure that's 2022. Go ahead and click Open. And we're going to rename this to Civil 3D Imperial. I'm going to delete everything after it, so we're going to put 2 carets at the end and 2 carets in the beginning. So it's going to look similar to what we have here without the original in front of it. And you want to make sure to check Include Path Information on that. Click Apply and Close. Apply. Click OK to exit the Options dialog box. And now what we want to do, we just want to go ahead and quit Civil 3D. And you just go down here to Close. Save the changes to drawing. No. And actually, you just want to exit Autodesk Civil 3D 2022. So I just closed out of the drawing. Okay, so now we can go ahead and launch Civil 3D 2022 Imperial. May take a few seconds for the first time you open this up as it completes the customization. But just make sure that when you do select the Imperial that you are opening up Civil 3D, that you're not opening up Autodesk. If there's a red A, then you know you're opening up Autodesk compared to the blue C, which is corresponding to Civil 3D. Again, you get a little pop-up here talking about, tell us a little bit about yourself. You can just close this or don't show this again. Totally up to you. And again, you might get the window that pops up with the unassigned executable file. If that warning appears, you can go ahead and select always load, and then that way it won't keep popping up on you. Alright, so Civil 3D is opened. And if you notice, the license, I didn't have a license issue come up, so we got that squared away. And the one thing that you want to take note on, if the customization was completed correctly, there should be an NRCS tab. So you could select that NRCS tab, and here's all the different NRCS tools that are part of that customization ARG file. So if you don't have this NRCS tab, then you've completed the customization incorrectly, and you'll have to start back and do it again. And if that's the case, again, make sure that you reset everything back to the defaults prior to continuing on with the customization. But if you see that NRCS tab, then you've completed everything correctly. So there's a couple things regarding what you can load. I know in the instructions, you can do the Trimble link if you want to, but we don't use Trimble link, so I wouldn't even worry about doing that. The only other thing that we need to do is import the NRCS waterway subassemblies. The main screen with the insert tab up top, just hit insert, and then you want to go to import subassemblies. And what you want to do, basically create a new palette and just call this my NRCS waterway. Go ahead and click OK. And then the source file, we're going to have to browse to the C drive, the program data, Autodesk, Civil 3D 2022, support NRCS, waterway subassemblies, and then you can select all these PKT files, click open, and you can select all of them, and then you can keep this unchecked, and then we're importing as a tool palette. Click OK. And for that to take place, you'll have to exit Civil 3D Imperial and relaunch it. But just a couple other things. Again, this is the process of getting everything customized to your liking. So in this case, if you wanted to import your workspace, you can do that also. You can revert to exporting your current workspace and then importing that workspace that you exported into the new Civil 3D 2022. There are instructions on that on the CAD user's website. We're going to go over object highlighting and layer isolate settings. So if you go into options, and if you go under selection, the default for the preview down in the bottom right hand corner is where we're going to be concentrating on. The selection preview, all these are selected when a command is active, when no command is active, and also the command preview and the property preview. The property preview, we can just uncheck that. That's not needed. On the selection preview, we're going to uncheck when no command is active. That's what's recommended. But just to kind of go over what it does, if I leave it checked, as you hover over top of any type of items within your drawing, you'll see that it automatically selects that item. That could slow down Civil 3D. So it's recommended that you keep that unchecked when no command is active. Click apply, OK. And now as you take your cursor and go across your drawing, it doesn't select anything. So that's just one item that you should uncheck along with the property preview. So the next item we're going to go over is the lay ISO. So out of the box, the lock and fade is selected to be on. So if you type in lay ISO on your command line, if you hit one of these items and you want to isolate it, you hit enter and it isolates that specific object. But you'll notice that the remainder of the items, they're locked and they're faded. So if you don't want that to happen, you can adjust that. So if you type in lay ISO again, and you can hit the drop down if you have the dynamic command line on, or you can just hit the settings. And the two options are off and lock and fade. So currently it's on lock and fade and it's set at 50%. If you wanted to keep that on and you wanted to make it a little less noticeable, you can up it to 90%. And you'll notice that you can barely see those items. The other option that most people select is off. And in Paper Space Viewport, use off also. And then select your item, and you'll notice that everything goes away except the item that you isolated. So that's just a user preference. Another command is the layer walk. So if you want to quickly isolate every layer in a project one at a time to simply see what's contained on it, you can use the layer walk command. And where that's located at is on your home tab. And if you hit the drop down for layers, you'll see little layer with feet on it, or you can type in lay walk on the command line. So what that does, it says there's 193 layers, and if you select the first layer and just hit your down arrow key as you go through each layer, you'll see things containing on each one of those layers as you walk through them. If you want to keep that selected, so if you want to have that selected and basically you're walking through these layers and you're going to isolate them, if you have restore on exit checked, it'll bring all those layers back on. But if you have it unchecked, hit close, it'll give you a warning. Just go ahead and hit continue. So now it just has that specific layer that you selected in the layer walk shown on your screen. To have the rest of your layers come on, just type in the command line lay on, so it just turns all the layers back on. And if you wanted to turn specific layers on and off, you can just hit the little light bulb and turn selected layers on and off, and escape when you're done that command. So that's all about the object highlighting and layer isolate settings. So the next step is we need to activate grading optimization for Civil 3D 2022. You launch Civil 3D 2022 Imperial. If you go to the Home tab and then go over to Grading Optimization, which is here, just kind of gives you an idea that it's installed and what the perks are. So now if we go into Analyze under Grading Objects, this will force the licenses to take effect. So we just click already have a license, go down to select the network license, and then once you select that, the grading object browser will come up. So you just need to do that in order to access the commands on that. And also there will be a window for grading objects Imperial for your templates. So you'll see building pad, some different things here that you can do. So if we were to select the building pad, select the objects as a building pad, and then it'll prompt you to do those grading tools. So it's just a little quicker steps in getting things done. So you can just go ahead and close that down. So anytime you go into the analyze and go to your grading objects, it'll automatically populate the grading objects browser, and then also the different things over here. Not sure everything on this, but it's a new function that is installed in 2022. The next step is we want to activate the Autodesk Project Explorer for Civil 3D 2022. Again, make sure that we're launched in Civil 3D Imperial. Go to your Home tab, select the Project Explorer. It'll prompt with the license. I already have a license. Use Network a license. And then you'll notice that it comes up with this Project Explorer for Civil 3D. Opens as a separate window and gives additional tools for reviewing Civil 3D surfaces, alignments, profiles, corridors, generating custom reports, and more. So there'll be more trainings on this to come. But now that's activated, so that's just one of the things that you want to activate. So just to give an overview of what the Project Explorer refers to, if you hit the Project Explorer up in your main ribbon tab, specifically with this drawing, it goes over different alignments, profile names. So if I wanted to look at supply line main number 1, lateral number 1, it just gives me some different information on the different parameters that are associated with that. So you can go to specific stations and it tells you exactly where that station's at. And I believe it gives you specific, I don't know if it gives you not sure if it gives you actual elevations. Gives you distances of those specific ones. So it just gives you a little bit more information what the grades are on specific lines. And you can, turn certain things on and off. And you can compare it to, a specific existing ground, proposed surface, things like that. So it's just another way of viewing more information of your drawing. Also in the document provided with the customization is updates for NRCS AutoCAD and Civil 3D 2022. So this just gives an update of what was added in the new customization for 2022. Some template files. They've updated a couple blocks for layouts and a section sheet production at 1 inch equals 20 scale. Some line types that they've created. Overhead power lines, which I've actually added that to our current template. They created an easement line type. There's some different layers that they've added. Dimension styles that were added. Some text styles that were added. Then there's some blocks that they've added following the GIS mapping. I guess there's some specific blocks associated with that. They've added pivot irrigation dynamic block for a pivot irrigation system. That's under the tool palette updates. They have a few updates on those. Place the pivot irrigation dynamic block in both the 11 by 17 and the 22 by 34. They created a new property line easement, property line, utility line in the palettes under the plan commands. Edited the existing utility line to utility line underground. Some standardized components, drag state error sizes. They adjusted that to be a certain size from 0.078 to 0.117, so it's a little bit bigger. Some code sets that they updated in there. Label style markers, they've updated some of those. So they have above, below, they have an offset above and below, and then they have an angled. And then they have some label styles for your lines. Different point groups, updated EX, updated PR. Some surfaces that they've added, add a watershed analysis surface style, watershed label styles, add a watershed table style. Some profile view styles they have adjusted, and looks like they've added or modified some corridor information. And then in the customized application under the NRCS tab, under the auxiliary spillway, looks like they added some things. The calculation area command now supports Civil 3D feature lines, and the total length now supports a variety of entity lines like polylines, splines, circles, and arcs. So these are some of the items that you could put in the command line. Calculate CALCA. It'll calculate an area. Command now supports Civil 3D feature lines and the total length of polylines, splines, circles, and arcs if you type in total length or total LEN in a command line. And that looks to be it as far as the updates that are with the NRCS customization. Some of these updates I will add to our specific templates, so these will be added in there once I get our templates updated, but I'm going to try to do that all at one time, so I'm not, updating just one template at a time. I'm going to try to do it all at once. So I'll come up with a generalized template that has all these additional features in it, and then I'll base that off of our Q new, and that will be set in our Q new, and then I'll add that to all of our templates in the near future. So that's it. Just to recap what we went over: requesting Civil 3D software installation, verifying the installation was installed properly, verifying that the NRCS customization file is installed, and if not, how to download it and install it from the Software Center, activating a network license, installing the NRCS customization CUI, activating the Project Explorer and grading optimization, setting up personal preferences using the object highlighting and layer isolate commands, and then just going over the general additional items that were placed in the customization file. So that's it for this training. The next training will be on the Maryland templates and going over how to sync those to our SharePoint site.